Hey everyone, Budget Nerd here. Today we'll check out a budget router from JeXtream. They boast some advanced parental features that can be controlled from their app. So let's check it out and see if it's any good. So the JeXtream FX20 comes in at $99. It's a dual band Wi-Fi 6 router. It supports WPA3, has a total of 1800 megabits per second of combined bandwidth over wireless, and has a 1 gigahertz dual core processor. In the box you get, whatever that is, paper with words, the power brick, an Ethernet cable, the foot or stand you use to have it set up right, and the router, of course. It feels pretty light and pretty plasticky. On the front, you get your typical status lights. It looks pretty uninspiring, although the red line that runs around the perimeter helps, I guess. On the back, you get the jack for power, a WAN port, 4 LAN ports, a WPS, and reset button. Again, nothing fancy. The boot or foot or stand or whatever you want to call it just goes in these 2 holes and then slides up. It works, but there's nothing to secure it or fasten it in place. It will likely not come out of there, but might if you lift it or mess with it enough. I do wish there was some locking mechanism here or even a small screw to hold it in place. Hooking it up in the Budget Nerd rack was pretty simple, and it mostly fits in. Again, its styling is a bit too simple, I think. Setting it up was pretty simple. Once it's plugged in and you're connected to it, you can visit router.jetstream.net and it will help you find it and do the router setup. The dashboard is pretty clean and neat, but doesn't have or show much info as most routers will until you scroll down a bit. However, after looking through some of the settings on this router, it seems you get fewer than you do with most other routers. For any basic home or small office, that's fine. However, if you are a power user and love to fine-tune things or want some advanced features, this router might not fulfill that desire. What you can do is change LAN settings, DHCP settings like reserve an address, configure wireless settings, get a list of connected devices, set up a Wi-Fi mesh, configure dynamic DNS, configure port forwarding, set up a DMZ, enable VPN pass-through, set up an access control list, set up basic content filtering like blocking a site or keywords, block services, and the typical system tools and settings. It's one of the smaller menus I've seen on a router in a while, but that might be okay because JeXtream focuses heavily on their parental app, Quvo. Quvo? Dunno. Yes, to control the router some and to set up the more advanced parental controls, you must install this app. Their app does collect a bit more info than your typical app like browsing history and location, but it does have reasons for doing so. For the geofencing and website filtering and blocking, it does need this information. Just read the privacy policy if you want to see exactly what they collect. Most of that would be collected on the children's phone and would be collected to enforce the parental controls. We'll go over the app in a little more detail soon, but right now let's check out the router's performance. It's okay, certainly not the fastest nor the slowest. A local file transfer, which is a large file from my NAS to another computer over Wi-Fi, resulted in speeds that reached 51 megabytes per second. It's good-ish, but my normal router hits about 111 megabytes per second. Additionally, some file transfers from my laptop to the NAS, the same NAS, so the exact same test but in the opposite direction would result in speeds of just 13 megabytes per second, which is actually a little slow. An internet speed test reached 300 megabits per second, which is good. I do pay for 300, but again, my normal router reaches about 380. To be fair, my normal router is quite a bit more expensive, so I don't judge this one much, but I do judge it some, a little bit. The Wi-Fi coverage is not bad, with the first floor getting decent coverage, and the second floor also getting decent coverage. It's better than the TP-Link AX1500 I reviewed a while back, but it does fall short of the Ray RGE6 I also reviewed last year, and my everyday router, the Asus RT AXE7800. Despite its power and speed shortcomings, it does have enough juice to support VR over wireless, which can be a bit taxing at times. My son and I played, and we had no issues. Now, this router's main selling point is its parental features. Out of all the routers I've tested, it does have more parental control options than the others have. This is mostly due to the app you can install. As mentioned previously, it's called Quvo. You only have to install it on your phone. It will give you access to most of the parental features and even let you do a few other things from your phone. If you install the Quvo app on additional devices you wish to control, then it will label some extra parental controls, like setting up screen time, setting up bedtimes, location tracking, and blocking app installs. Now, I should mention the Quvo app does require a subscription. Their website says you get a free 6-month trial, and then it's $20 a year after that. Not a ton of money, but the whole planet does hate subscriptions, and it's a thing here. When setting up my account, I did have an issue with the account not creating, then it saying my emails were already used. Their tech support was able to clear that up, and I was able to register. After setting up the app, it did say the router was offline, which, of course, wasn't true. After a few days, it just started showing as online. So I'm not sure what that was all about. Another issue I found was when I finally got into the app, it changed my Wi-Fi names and passwords back to the default. I had changed them previously, and when the app connected, they were overwritten. Easy to fix, but pretty annoying. Once the router showed as online, setting up rules for devices was pretty straightforward. You can set up profiles for your kids, assign devices to your kids, and then set a time when they can access the internet. You can also set up their content filtering level with this slider or go with something custom. I do like how granular you can get with this. You can also check out kids' browsing histories. A few routers do this, but this one dives a bit deeper, which is nice. If you see something that seems suspect, you can click on it, visit it, block it, or just flag it to keep an eye on it, perhaps. Strangely, it only showed today's history, and any previous day showed nothing, which isn't accurate. The parental features are pretty great, but it does stink that it comes with a subscription. It almost feels like you're paying for a parental control subscription that happens to come with a basic router. Also, I had the family complaining about the internet going out when they normally don't complain about this sort of thing often. Any device I used worked fine, so it's hard to say if this router played a role in it or not. I also don't like how they prevent you from changing certain router settings in the web browser, pointing you to the app. For example, I couldn't change the Wi-Fi name from a web browser. They said I needed the app, which irked me. Not everyone will want the app. In summary, I think there's potential here. It's a decent router at an okay price, but there are times when it may not make sense. There are faster routers with more features for a similar or better price out there, like the Asus RT AX3000 or the TP-Link AX3000. They both have USB ports as well, while this one does not. Power users or super nerds may want parental controls like this, but more speed and more features. Additionally, this appears to be their only router they offer. If you like the parental controls they offer and don't mind the subscription, then there's a link below with your name on it. If you don't care about the parental controls, then there are plenty of great options out there that do compete pretty heavily with this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.